What's up, people? I am back for another video. Today is going to be more of a, not necessarily going to be a review, but I kind of wanted to address this. I know this announcement was weeks ago now, but it's just shit's been happening the week that it happened, and ever since I just didn't get a chance to talk about it. But I do want to address it. They're doing a Scream 7, and here's my fundamental problem with that. Scream was never meant to get 7 films. I even borderline think 5's pushing it. Okay, I'll say this on paper. I wasn't inherently against if you want to do, 1 through 3, and then you want to do 4 through 6, fine. Because that was originally what Wes wanted to do, but 4 didn't do great, so that's why it took so long. And this isn't just me saying it because I think 5 is an absolute fucking atrocity. Or 6 is decent. The ending sucks. But for me, I just don't think Scream was meant to get past that because it's become a parody of itself. One of the things that Scream kind of made fun of, in the slasher genre was the amount of sequels. Granted, this wasn't 4, but how many when it made fun of the amount of stabs there were. And it's now you're going to that level. You're getting to Scream 7. What are we doing? No way Wes Craven ever intended. Maybe he originally wanted to do a new trilogy, but he would have ended it at 6. And, I think, me personally, I think 4 would have been a fine place to end it. I think if I was Wes, that's what I would have did. Have 4 be the last film. I think it ends things perfectly. But I'm starting to kind of agree with my friend Mara, who says Scream should have ended at 1. I'm kind of getting there now. As much as I love 2, 3, and 4, it just, now that we're getting to fucking 7, it's, and 7's, because these last several Scream films, unfortunately, people like 5. I'm, in the minority, apparently, when it comes to that. Apparently everyone loves Scream 5, or, liked it enough to that it got a 6, and now we're going to get a 7, and they're going to probably go to 8, and then we're going to get a 9. It's ridiculous. You know why, some of the other franchises can kind of get away with multiple films? Halloween, we'll start with that one. Well, actually, before I get into that, tomorrow I will be doing we'll for sure be doing my 1999 list. I got it ready. It'll be 10 movies. So I'll be doing that tomorrow. Tuesday, I will be doing Skyfall. I do not know what I'm doing Wednesday yet. It'll be an 80s action movie. I know that. I just don't know what yet. I might do Action Jackson. Actually, no, fuck it. Because I saw a tweet talk about Action Jackson. And I tweeted, I wish Carl, Weathers got more, solo action movies. So this is the only one I really know. So I figured, since I saw that tweet, I might just review that one. I haven't watched it in a bit anyway, so. Alright, we'll do that one. So Action Jackson I'll do on Wednesday. Then Thursday will be Equalizer 2. Then Friday will be The Punisher, the Thomas Jane one. I'm going to do the Thomas Jane one, and then the next one will be Warzone. And then maybe I'll do the 94 film after. I've actually never seen that one. I've actually never, not 94, I think it was 89 actually. The Dolph Lundgren one. I've never seen it. I actually didn't even know that existed. As a kid, I always assumed that the 2004 one was the first one. Nope. Apparently, there was the Dolph Lundgren one. I never knew about it until way later and just didn't get around to watching it. So I'll probably review that one after I do the other 2. So I'll be doing that. And then probably next Sunday, I'll be doing, maybe Saturday, depends on when I see Equalizer 3. But yeah. Anyway, back to Scream. Halloween, you could kind of get away with because of the multiple timelines. I understand how some people feel but Halloween, you at least have the different timelines, so you can kind of almost justify having the amount of films it has. It has 12 films now, or 11 or 12. Basically, plus if you include the new trilogy. But at least Halloween, pretty much ever since Halloween H2O, they've done this multiple timeline thing. You can kind of same thing with Jason to like Friday the 13th to an extent. Like I feel like with Friday the 13th, because you're not necessarily beholden to a timeline. It's about Jason at Crystal Lake. Like Jason X, we don't really know if the events of like those original, I say eight, Friday part one through part Jason Takes Manhattan, where I feel like that was like consistently canon. We don't really know if that's canon in Jason X, and it doesn't matter. And in general, I think that's the other reason Friday the 13th can kind of get away with the million films too. Because if we're going to be real, the canon doesn't really matter. It's always that base story, Jason being bullied to death and then his mom kills that's all you really need. You just need that like kind of origin, and then you kind of can do whatever you want with Jason. But Scream was just never meant to be that. It was supposed to be a parody on on a horror film. So I can see the argument of it maybe should have been one movie because the way the first one ends, we got a killer cop. But I'm fine with getting a two because it now we're talking about like how you make fun of sequels. So I'm okay with them doing it too because it goes into how you make it go into sequels. Third one goes into trilogies. Third one has a lot of problems, but I like that aspect. And then the fourth one is kind of like what five quote unquote try to do before already did it, but basically like the modern horror reboot. That's what four was exploring, and I feel like all the original four kind of touched all that. What can you do with the new one? Because basically horror has kind of just become reboots. Even like to six, it's basically that, just touching on the whole reboot thing or requel thing or I don't know. But going to seven, like what are you gonna touch on now that we haven't done already? And what I already know what they'll probably do is seven, they're gonna try to get Nev Campbell to come back. That's gonna be the big selling point. And it's like, okay, so we're gonna just do what five try to do. Bring in the Okay. I've already talked about this with my Scream rants and all. I've always said if you're gonna do new Scream after four, you should have moved on from the legacy characters. I'll mention that here really quick. As much as I love Gail, I love Sid. I didn't need to see her again. For me, Sid, Gail, and Dewey's arc ends in four. I think you could have just went with new characters, and you would have been better off. And then maybe fine if you want to go into seven because you have like a lead that actually, if you had got a lead that's worth the shit, like maybe an Anya Taylor-Joy, I think she could do a great horror. I think she would have been a great horror lead. I think she in general because she's a great actress. Her, maybe you get a Samara Weaving to be like. I think if you get a her Samara Weaving, maybe they should have made Jenna Ortega the lead instead of the terror chick. Maybe that could have worked well because then you could have had a chick that could have sold, and that could have almost been like maybe not as good as Sydney, but it could be like your new Sydney, and you could have did something like that. But no. So now with seven, what are we doing? What are you gonna really like be on this commentary like Scream is supposed to be? What are you gonna do that's commentary on? What are we gonna just do remakes again? Even though five did that, six even did that. What are you gonna do? There's nothing to even parody or like. And like I said, Wes Craven never intended this franchise to get to fucking seven movies, and it's not gonna stop at seven. It'd be one thing if I don't know though. There's even a part of me that's like seven movies, seven straight movies, just on paper sounds retarded. This was never the franchise that was supposed to go to seven. Max, I say four, but six, okay, I can kind of even four for me. I don't care. Canon wise, I'm cool four being it for me. But if you wanted to do six and have the sixth one be like it in like a 4 through 6 trilogy, cool. But anything after that, I just think it's too much. Hold on, let me see if this is recording. Okay. So it's like you could have just kept doing that, and end it there. But no, we have to keep going. And now they're not going to stop at 7. They're going to get to 8, and then they're going to probably eventually get to Scream fucking 10, and it's going to get to like Fast and Furious levels. And you're already a parody of yourself. Kind of is what Scream has become. When you get to these many films, this never meant to be that. I don't care. Wes Craven, I don't believe would have ever made it to 7 fucking movies. 6 if he had like got his wish and they did 4, 5, and 6, that'd be like the new trilogy. Fine, okay, then that would have been okay because then you would have the original trilogy. I guess in a somewhat, I guess we're going back to Star Wars, like original trilogy. You would have that new trilogy. You should have did that, but no. Now we're getting fucking 7, and like fundamentally, what are they gonna do? It's just gonna be another Ghostface incident, and also it gets to, another reason it gets to parody. It's like how many fucking Ghostface killings are there gonna be? I'm at a point. You do those original 4 films and just have Scream be like an independent IP where maybe someone wants to do a fan film of what they would do with Scream. Just do that shit. We don't need a canon Scream 7 because now it's a parody. Like you're telling me like yeah, I get it. These kind of worlds I can accept certain things. Like in the Marvel world we accept, aliens, people like the Hulk, gods like Thor. Same with DC, right? But there's certain you're telling me there's been 7 Ghostface fucking killing sprees now, and then we're gonna get to 8. At least with the other franchises, it's a name like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, or Chucky. Where they're led by one character. Chucky maybe a little bit more because you have Tiffany and etc. But the other 3 are mainly the one name. So okay, it's like fine. At least Halloween, it's Michael Myers. So you can just kind of do a different Michael Myers in a new timeline, like I explained. So Halloween can almost justify it. Because at least you can be, okay, this is a different timeline. And this timeline, like, even if let's say they want to do another Halloween movie after it, you know what they should do? I'd always say just do a new timeline. Or if you want to give Danielle Harris one shot, have her come back as Jamie, and have this be like a post-Halloween 4 timeline, cool. And there, you could get away with it, because like I said, there's timelines, and Jason, the timeline doesn't really fucking matter, because as long as you have the fundamental story, Jason killing at Crystal Lake, timeline doesn't really matter. Is it within the original 8 movies? Is this a new timeline? It doesn't fucking matter. It's just Jason killing at Crystal Lake, and then Freddy Krueger is the same thing. It's about one character. So you can get away with that. Ghostface, as much as I love Ghostface, he's not a real character. He's a fucking face that there's been a million others in the costume. And it gets to a parody when you're telling me that there's fucking 7 of them now. And what are they going to do that's any different? Ghostface, I'll admit, in 6, the movie itself wasn't good, but when he was killing, it was pretty cool. But, like, what are you going to do to top that I've already seen it, I just feel like you're not going to do anything different. 7 movies, and like I said, it's just going to get past 7. They're not going to just do 7. Like, if 7 does decently, they'll do an 8. And then that's going to get ridiculous at that point. Where I'm like, you just go full parody at that point. Do Ghostface in time travel or something. And you know what I fear they're going to do? This has always been a theory for years that Stu was alive. I've always hated it because he died. In my view, Stu died that night in Scream 1. He got a heavy-ass TV thrown on him. He was already bleeding out from being stabbed multiple times by Billy. The line is, I'm dying here, man, and you're having me believe that, as I understand they wanted to originally bring him back in 3, but even then I wouldn't have liked it, because it's like, no, he died. He got electrocuted, a heavy-ass TV, he's already bleeding out, he's fucking dead. So, but they're gonna probably do that. They're definitely gonna probably try to get Neve Campbell to come back. I think they're gonna probably pay whatever she wants, and they're definitely gonna try to get her back, because that'll be the market. Oh, Neve Campbell's back, guys. And for me, it's Sydney's story ends at 4. That's just how it is. Even if I thought 6 was okay, 4 in my head is where it ends. But maybe it should have ended after 1, because holy shit, now we're getting 7 movies. Potentially, I say 8, potentially, or even more than that, because if these movies do decently, and there are going to be people going and see them. I mean, I'm not, if I watch Scream 7, which I don't even think I will, I think on principle I might not. I gave 6 a chance, because I wanted to see partially what they would do after 5. Now, if I do watch it, I'd only watch it just because Jenna Ortega's in it. That's literally what it would be. It would just be that. I would be watching it because I have a feeling they're gonna bring her back and a lot of the characters from 5 and 6, and it's gonna be like, okay. Well, you know what is another element? One of the big negatives I had for fucking 6 is the amount of people who just survived getting stabbed a million times. You have that dude who's supposed to be quote unquote the new Dewey, but Dewey did not get stabbed with two fucking Buck 120s. It was two ghost faces that stabbed him multiple fucking times in the chest. He is fucking dead. So you have that shit. People can just get stabbed and they live now. So it's just full on parody. So no. Scream to me ends at 4. That's my canon. It ends at 4. And Wes Craven, but I don't believe he would have did 7 fucking movies. It's hard for me to believe because that's one of the things that Scream made fun of was the whole the whole like horror ridiculous amount of horror sequels. Like Scream made fun of that, like Scream 4 specifically. But even some of the other movies. So it's like it's ridiculous. Now we're getting like you've become what you made fun of. So like I said, I'm up in the air. Hold on. If I even watch fucking 7, like, and if I do, obviously it'll be on the seas, and it'll only be because Jenna Ortega's in it. But we'll see. I just on principle do not like the idea of there being a Scream fucking 7. It's just I rolled my eyes when they announced. I was like, man, and it's like I'm a horror fan. Some like I'm gonna keep reiterating. Some horror franchise I'm okay with. Halloween, I get it. There are some people who don't even really like the whole ridiculous Halloween sequels, but at least Halloween, it's about one man and the whole timeline element. You can do different. There's the precedent's been set pretty much since Halloween H2O that there's different timelines, so you can get away with it with Halloween. Jason, like I said, timeline doesn't fucking matter as long as you just have Jason in woods killing some teenagers. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if this is is this canon to like Jason X? Is this canon to the original movies? Is this canon to the reboot? It doesn't matter. You can go wherever you want with Friday the 13th. Because timeline it's that I also just think in general, that IP was never really about story, so you can kind of do what the fuck you want with it. But, Nightmare on Elm Street has been about Freddy, so you at least have the one timeline. And Chucky, to an extent, why it even works, why he can kind of get past 7 movies, the whole doll element, the supernatural element. I think that's the other thing. Some of these, a lot of those other franchises I mentioned have a supernatural element. So, ultimately, you kind of have it going forever because there is a supernatural element. Scream is supposed to, one of the things I loved about, like, the original Scream, but even Scream 2, or throughout, well, not really 3, but like the first 2 specifically, they have that realism effect. There's this guy in a ghost face costume who, has a voice changer. He's not supernatural. He's not some big hulking dude who could like fucking cave your face in. Or Michael who can fucking shove a shotgun through your chest to a wall. Like, you don't have anything like that. It's just a regular, dude. But that's why Scream works. It's supposed to be, realistic. That's why the whole I have beef with, like, people surviving the ridiculous amount of stabs in these new ones. Or you have Tara with the whole Billy fucking ghost in her head. Like, what the fuck? You're telling me ghosts are now canon in Scream? That's stupid. Scream's supposed to be, like, somewhat the real world. That's why the whole idea of it getting to 7 is stupid. Because I'm like, you're telling me there's been 7 fucking ghost-based sprees now? Like, how many copycats? Like, you're telling me there's that many? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that's why Scream, it doesn't work. It doesn't have that supernatural, at least on principle. It's not supposed to have that supernatural element like the other franchises do. Like, Chucky's a fucking living doll who uses voodoo to bring himself back to life, you know? So there's always a Freddy's a dream killer. Michael, you know, I even know some people don't like it, but Michael eventually he's a supernatural that he can't just die simply. Some of his kills are out there. So, you know, same thing with Jason. These both I guess kind of combine Jason and Michael a little bit with that. They're hulking killers who can like Jason can just shove his hand through your heart and pull your heart out like he did in Friday Part 6. It's like so those franchises is why kind of can get away with multiple movies inherently just because they're supernatural. But Scream always had that realism to it. These were just regular dudes in a costume who have a voice changer. Nothing like crazy like that. That's why I'm gonna say it again. The idea of just 7 ghost face breeds. You tell me there's been that many. No, so I just don't like the idea of them getting to 7. So, but that's really all I had to say. I just this idea of it getting to 7 is ridiculous to me. I love the Scream movies, but to me it ends at 4. But I don't know, man. Maybe it should have fucking ended at 1. Like, you know, when we're getting this many fucking movies now, it's ridiculous. So tomorrow I'm gonna do my 1999 list. It'll be 10. So, but other than that, cheers, and I'll talk to you on tomorrow. All right, y'all. Talk to you on tomorrow. Peace.